All right, welcome back, guys. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving, and over this weekend, I hope you enjoyed seeing the Wolfpack beat Boise State as much as I did. I thought that was a pretty sweet win. It's a good thing our kicker didn't choke. Anyway, so we're going to start off today. Obviously, we're going to do our warm-up, but we're going to get into mobility today. We're going to do the couch stretch, but to get the shoulders warmed up, because we're going to be doing some front squatting, we're going to set up the bands on the cage like this at about chest height for whatever your height is, set up about chest height. You're going to hook your wrist in just like we would for any of our shoulder distractions we usually do. But what we're going to do today is we're going to turn that thumb back, so we're going to open the palm face up, right? So it's going to be external rotation, and then we're going to pull away and stretch the chest and the shoulder. We really want to open those shoulders up because we're going to be doing some heavy front squatting, and we want to make sure that we can rack that bar properly. So we're going to work that external rotation. We're going to do 1 minute each arm, and then we're going to do the couch stretch. Okay? After that, we're going to go on to wave sets on the front squats, and maybe in some small way it'll make you think of the tropics, and then you can forget about how cold it is outside. So let's head on over. All right, guys, so here we are over at the squat rack, and we're going to be doing front squats. Now we're going to do wave sets, which means we're going to do a 3, 2, and a 1. And we're going to increase weight on each of those. So let's say your max front squat is 200 pounds, arbitrarily. You may do 170 at your set of 3, maybe go for 185 on your set of 2, and maybe you shoot for 195 or 190, something like that for your set of 1. Now, you're asking yourself, well, why wouldn't I go for my max on the third lift, well, or on the third set? That's because that's the first wave. The second wave, you're going to take the weights you took from the first wave, you're going to do another 3, 2, 1, but now you're going to bump the weight up 5 or 10 pounds per set. So if you did 170 pounds on your set of 3 in the first wave, you're going to do maybe 175 or 180 pounds in your set of 3 in the second one. So that second wave should be pretty tough. A couple things to think about when we're doing the front squats. Want to make sure that we have a nice upright chest, and we're pushing those knees out as we drop. I see a lot of times people's knees want to buckle in, and that's going to cause a chain reaction of bad things to happen, okay? So we want to push those knees out. We want those knees tracking out over the toes. So on the front squat, we want to see this and not this, right? So when you be way out, when those knees flare out, that allows the hips to slide in between the heels and keep a nice upright torso. If the knees buckle in, the hips get pushed back, that tilts the torso forward, and then you end up with this kind of posture instead of this kind of posture, okay? So when we get up on the bar, we want to make sure that we're even and we're centered, because we don't want to be off center on the bar. You're going to rack that weight, you're going to stand it up. Now in proper rack position, your elbows are up. Notice how my elbows are pointed forward. I don't want to see people holding the bar like this. Inevitably, when I see that, the next thing I'm going to hear is, oh, my wrists really hurt. Well, that's because you're holding the bar in your hands and not on your shoulders, okay? So we're going to flare those knees out, upright chest, drop the hips below the knees, drive up. We're going to do that for our wave sets. It should be a lot of fun. When you're at the bottom, you should have those knees out, you should have that upright chest, you should have a nice tight core, and think about leading with the elbows on the way up. That's going to really erect your torso and get you in a nice posture on the way up. All right, the next thing we're going to do is row a 2K, so let's head over to the rower, and we'll talk about that. All right, guys, so here we are on the rower. I'm getting all strapped in here. For the 2K row, this is, of course, not a super aggressive pace. This is not a sprint, right? This is kind of a middle distance for a rower. So you're not going to go out of the gates as hard as you can. There are a few strategies that you can use here. I know Byard likes to, as he puts it, bank something at the beginning. And his theory is that when you're starting out on the rower, when you go for a 2K, go a little bit of an aggressive pace, but still moderate. Don't go too hard. A little bit more of an aggressive pace than you think you can hold for the whole thing, for maybe the first 500, and then back off, and then try to just sustain the little bit slower pace for the rest of the 2K. He seems to have good results with that. However, I've seen strategies from more advanced rowers that, they start off actually easy and then pick up the pace all the way through the race. Whatever the case, you need to have a game plan going into this. You can't go out just all out when you first pull on the rower, because otherwise 600 meters into it, you're going to have nothing left in the tank. So a few technical aspects of the rowing here. So I've said this over and over, I continue to say it, and I will continue to say it probably until I die. So when we pull, we get to full extension of the chain. Do not bend your knees and then put the chain back over your knees. Okay? Do not do this. Now I said it last time, and a lot of you are continuing to do it. So I'm going to call you out on it. I'm going to keep calling you out on it until you correct this. I want the hands back and then bend the knees. Okay? Another thing that I still continue to see, and I'm going to keep trying to correct everybody until we have a crack team of professional rowers at this gym, is on the pole, make sure that you finish the pole before you reset. Notice how deliberate this looks. As opposed to this. I see this all the time. This is very inefficient. I mean, you're only hurting yourself when you do it. You may think you're being more efficient, but you're not. You're being very inefficient, and it's going to take you a lot longer to get the distance you're shooting for. In this case, 2,000 meters. So, make sure that you finish each pole and start with the hands back. All right? This should be a fun workout, fun day down at the gym. No more turkey, except for leftovers.